go. So I was playing Marvel Rivals competitive one day, because I'm psychotic, obviously, and I was in a lobby with another set of the most toxic players I've ever played with in any video game ever. We inevitably lost, and I was yet again blamed for something entirely not my fault. I played healer the entire time, I positioned myself really well, I was healing a lot, while the dive duelist on the team went to a back room, started a 1v6, and ended up screaming for heals behind a maze runner amount of walls. Afterwards, I'm now back down to Grandmaster 2, and I've just wasted the entire past 3 hours on a losing streak, falling so far down the rabbit hole that I might as well just hibernate in it at this point. See, I like Rivals, I like the gameplay loop, and I like the art style. The consistent updates are great, and the idea of the game is amazing. But the people make me want to throw my PC in a dumpster. But this video isn't about Rivals. I guess it was kind of caused by it, but it certainly isn't the main focus. The game I just mentioned was by no means the first time I felt like trash after playing Rivals, but this time around it was a different feeling. It was something I'd never felt before, and I just felt completely and utterly empty. It was like there was this void in my chest that I just couldn't explain, something that previously I thought that games filled for me. Ever since I got Spyro's Adventure for the Wii in 2011, I've loved video games. I've played them near religiously and was no doubt addicted in the heaviest sense of the word. I collected a whole bunch of Skylanders. I got FIFA of 2014 from my friend. I was introduced to my very first shooter, Star Wars Battlefront, the new one, the new 2015 one, not the old one. And then I got into Halo. After Halo came Warzone, and then Call of Duty multiplayer, then eventually Fortnite, which I spent so many hours on and so much money on. After Fortnite came a massive period of time, I think during COVID, that I played so much Siege. I played from dawn till dusk till dawn again, both with and against Jordan, and I played for hours and hours upon hours. From 2011 to 2025, this massive catalog of games I poured so many hours of my life into, I can't even name them all here. From Helldivers to Repo to Phasmophobia to Elden Ring, Super Mario Bros, Super Smash Bros, and even Numbers Up, the freaking math board computer game. I've immersed myself in so many different worlds, I basically don't have to sightsee anymore. And yet after all those hours, this was the first time I was left feeling this deep sorrow in my heart. Could it have been a skill issue in Rivals? I don't know, I mean, probably. I'm like Grandmaster 1 peak in that game, I think. But the main issue I actually discovered when I went to go play another game. And another game. And another. And another. I would go play Helldivers and Halo with Jordan and Ethan, random games here and there with others, by myself even. Everything. And yet the emptiness was still there. I was bored. More than bored, I would describe myself as meaningless. Literally devoid of meaning. These games that I shoved everyone away for pretty consistently, my safe space when I expended my social battery, and for all intents and purposes, my life, which is kind of sad to say out loud. Just for context, about a month ago, a couple days before that day happened where I felt empty inside, I lost something that I never thought I'd lose. It was something I thought would be a constant in my life, and I idolized it and took it for granted all at once. Losing that broke me. So after trying and quite frankly failing to console myself with more video games, my second coping method was either going to be stress eating or spending, because I do both a decent amount of time. And I spend a lot when I'm sad. I recently got into Pokemon, very evident by the videos I've been posting, but that stuff gets expensive, like really expensive. In previous years, I never really recklessly spent money. I've been decent with saving what I got so I could pay off school the next year. This year though, I only have a few courses each semester, as I clean up some courses I wasn't able to take in previous years. So I have some extra money to spend, and the temptation of having even a little spending money is a lot when I'm in this sort of state. Don't get me wrong, I love ripping packs and collecting sets and doing all that stuff, but it could not even hold a candle to the thing that I lost. Throwing money into the hole in my heart didn't fill it, it only lined it. Covered it like leaves over a trap. And then it hit me. None of this fulfills me. Not the games, not the spending, the stress eating, any of it. For whatever reason, the things that used to fill me with so much joy now just left me wondering what I could have done instead of those things. And that feeling sucks, if I'm being completely honest. Because that means in my life, there were so many opportunities where I could have gone out with my friends, gone and spent time with my family, with the people that I loved. And I passed it all up to go 1-15 in several ranked games for several hours, or get 20 kills in a battle royale game and choke the win. I remember one particular time when I was 14, there was a Fortnite event of all things going on, but not just any Fortnite event. It was the end of Chapter 1. I was only 14 at the time, so naturally I was incredibly addicted to Fortnite and basically lived it. I lived in that world. The day of the event was October 13th, 2019, which was a Sunday. My family was taking too long to get out of church after service because they were talking to their friends too much, and I was going to end up missing the event. Just as we were actually about to leave, a family that was pretty close to mine suggested going out to lunch with my family, and I was upset. I was mad. It's embarrassing to talk about how upset I was, but it kind of adds to how stupid I was during this whole situation. We came to church that day with 2 cars because my dad had to be there earlier to serve, and I remember throwing a fit once we had gotten into the car, one so big that my mom actually ended up taking me home in the separate car just so I could see the event. And yes, if you're wondering, I do feel incredibly bad about this. We got home around 1:30 p.m. and the event was at 2. If you've never seen a Fortnite event, then you basically have to sit in the event lobby for an hour before the actual event starts, otherwise the servers fill up and you won't be able to join. Because I'd gotten back so late, and by late I mean like by 30 minutes, I tried joining, but to no avail. The servers were full. And on top of that, my internet was really bad back then, so it was already difficult on some days to even connect to the game. On that specific day, God really decided to let me have it and teach me a lesson, which, now looking back on it, was fair enough. The internet went out, and when it came back, it was 1:50 p.m. and I could not join in, and I was even more furious than I was before. I'll never forget this whole thing, because I was yelling and screaming in rage that I couldn't join. I was absolutely losing my mind in the basement, and my mom just came up to me and laughed at me. She just looked at me dead in the eyes and asked me if it was worth it. If this event, if this thing, was really worth more than spending time with those family friends that we had. If it was worth more than even spending time with my family. And to be honest, my answer at the time would have been yes. Pretty sad. If I'd just seen the map get swallowed by that giant black hole, all of that screaming, all that rage, all of that stress would have been worth it. I look back now and I laugh at how stupid I was back then, but really, until recently, while I may not have screamed and raged as I did, I acted in the same principles. Engineering is not an easy major. I think I can say that's pretty much objective. It consists of long nights of studying and asking the professor questions and a lot of failure. However, it also comes down to attitude as well. As of writing this script, I'm on track to graduate from engineering this year, but let me tell you, my attitude during this whole post-secondary experience has not been the greatest. A lot of the time, I was super overwhelmed. Taking 5 to 6 courses a semester is an incredibly demanding task, especially when the majority of your courses hinge off of imaginary numbers and arbitrary differentiation. Even so, there were healthy ways to deal with it. Unfortunately, I took none of them. My idea of relaxing and de-stressing from all this hectic schoolwork that I was experiencing was running away from it and into the loving, comforting, rampaging, anger-inducing, stressful, brain-numbing, soul-sucking, ego-crushing arms of video games. And the funny part? I had people to run to. Whether it had been my friends, my family, my pastors, God himself, or even my girlfriend. Anything would have been better than the abusive relationship that I called relaxing. And yet, I couldn't pull myself away. To me, it filled me up so that I could go face more school. More of what life had to throw at me. And I thought it was all okay. Over time, it became clear, as if it wasn't clear enough as it was, that video games were becoming exceedingly unhealthy to me. It started to become more than just an escape from school and stress. It became an escape from the people that I loved. From everything. When I didn't want to deal with my family, who at the time was pretty rough, I went to video games. When I just didn't feel the drive to face my friends, I turned to video games. I think back on all the times I should have just shut off the screen and gone out to meet with people, have real relationships and grow my existing ones, and I cringe because I passed it all up for a couple more hours. This is not a PSA to avoid video games at all costs and treat them like the work of the devil. As a matter of fact, I literally played Rivals as I wrote the beginning of this script today because I still find it fun when I don't have to do anything. The problem lies in the moderation of the thing you're enjoying, and I think it's pretty clear by now that my problem was deeper than video games. My problem was mine, not the screens. It got to the point where my priorities were all messed up. The 2024 school year for me was quite possibly, and absolutely, was the hardest year of school I've ever done. I actually took some courses that I was not ready for and nearly failed a decent amount of them. I hope no employers are watching this right now. I've always been insecure about my future, so not doing well in school, regardless of the subject, was always terrifying to me. I wanted to be so many different things for so many different reasons. I wanted to be an engineer, a YouTuber, an artist, an animator, a father, a good friend, a good boyfriend, a good husband, yada yada yada, all these things. Not doing well in school just made me spiral into anxious thoughts and fear and doubt. Maybe all these things that I thought I was gonna be, I just wasn't cut out for. And even when I did well in school, I just worried about the next time I was gonna do awfully. The next time I'd get a grade back and be disappointed, which was unfortunately pretty common. So doing well in school didn't really fulfill me either. I'd just go back to video games for that. Instead of running to my friends and family to fulfill me, I'd tuck myself away, be annoyed at any outside contact, and be immersed in a false reality. I've been making YouTube videos very sporadically for the past 4 years, and I love doing it. I love putting that piece of me out there on the internet in the hopes that it'll inspire people the same way I was inspired by YouTubers before me. I never did it for views, and I still don't, but it feels difficult to get going on this kind of a platform, especially when I've been dividing my time between making videos and committing to school. My uploads weren't scheduled, not consistent, and when I did have time, I spent all of it playing video games, trying to forget how scared I was of everything. Trying to make it as a YouTuber is just like any other job. It requires a lot of dedication, a lot of research, and a lot of effort to really get going. And I couldn't and wouldn't provide that. I do think that the state of YouTube is pretty rough as it is also, but I might just make an entirely separate video on that. And so after all these things, I found that making videos didn't fulfill me like I thought it would either. And so we cut back to now, right after I lost the last and most precious card in my hand. All my resources are spent, and I've still got family and friends, but there's still that general emptiness in my soul that I couldn't shake, that nothing in this world could fill. Learning is always going to be a long process. As of writing this script, it's been the longest month of my life, by no exaggeration. Video games haven't been hitting like they used to, and whenever I want to get out of the house, it feels like there were cinder blocks strapped to my feet. The blessing of having so few courses this year ended up being a curse, as now I have nothing to do, and nothing I could do could possibly fulfill me anyway. Despite all of this, there was one constant I didn't consider for my entire life. The night where I lost that which meant the world to me, I just couldn't sleep. I laid in bed, off my phone, staring at the ceiling in complete darkness for hours upon hours. I tried playing games earlier, tried talking with my family, and I still just couldn't deal with this pain in my heart. It was around midnight, and I sat up from my bed. I knew I wasn't going to sleep anytime soon anyway. I walked over to my light switch, flicked it on, and I just sat in my chair. My computer wasn't even on, I don't think. I just sat there. And on my desk, almost mocking me, was a Bible I'd bought 2 years ago. I stared at it, and got up and grabbed a blank notebook that I had on my shelf. I've been in church for my entire life. I went to church on Sundays, went to youth group, attended the youth events, and even worked there for several summers in a row. I'd done so much in the church, and yet I did all of these things without even knowing what the basis of my supposed faith was. I'd never actually sat down and read through the Bible. The most I'd done previously was read it maybe once a month, if I'm lucky. And I'd read it quickly, just one chapter. And then I was holy, or whatever I thought I was. But now I had nothing left. Nothing fulfilled me. And so I turned to God. I cracked open that Bible and started reading from wherever I left off, which at the time I think was Romans 15. And for 2 hours I just wrote. First I wrote a small bit on how I was feeling, and then I just started studying. Pulled up Chuck Smith's sermons and started dissecting. Studied till 5 in the morning, and then prayed for another half an hour, just reaching out in my desperation and the emptiness. One thing that I've come to understand is that God is not a magician. I still couldn't sleep after all of that, and I ended up pulling an all-nighter that night. I think I went to sleep at 10 the following night. I still was super anxious, still afraid of what was to come next. But there was something different. Something that changed inside me. I was still terrified, sure, but I had direction. And for the first time in a while, I felt true fulfillment, even if at the time it was only a little. The next day I did the same thing. I carried on writing in that notebook. I only studied a chapter a day, but I found that every time I thought a chapter would have nothing to say, that I'd spend upwards of 2 hours sitting there writing. And the craziest part? As of now, I'm still not sick of it. Every day since then, I found myself wanting to dive in and just read and write about what I read. And everything that I've read so far just confirms exactly what my fear was. Nothing I was doing was really fulfilling me, because nothing in this world truly can. The essence of Christianity is truly just submitting to Jesus at the end of the day. Accepting that without him, I am nothing but the dust I was formed from. Nothing I did or could ever do will earn me a spot in heaven. But because he loves me so much, he died so that I could join him in eternity. But it's a choice. God is not a cruel God. He won't force his love upon you, as that wouldn't be love, just control. And so he lets people choose to either be with or live separate from him. And personally, I'd been choosing myself for far too long. In everything I did it for me. My relationships, my drive to finish school, my playing video games, it was all to make me feel good. All to fulfill me. And it hurts to admit that, to say that everything I've done was pointless. It makes me feel empty, but maybe that was the point. 2 Corinthians 4:18 says, "So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal." Matthew 6:19 says, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moths and vermin destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moths and vermin do not destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal." The Bible constantly refers to the now as temporary. Everything here will pass away. Everything will return to dust as it was at creation. The only thing truly worth investing in is the life I have in Jesus. I got nothing here. Where I felt the weight of the world, the weight to be better, to do well in school, the weight of all those things I feared I could never be, it's no longer mine. Matthew 16:24 says, "Then Jesus said to his disciples, 'Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me.' Matthew 11:29-30 says, 'Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls.'" Trying so hard to find my fulfillment here didn't fill what was in my heart, what I was trying so desperately to escape. However, the alternative, which is to seek beyond that, is scary. Giving up everything is something I never wanted to do, especially not what I lost that one day. Laying everything down is the opposite of what I thought I had to do, which was stuff things down my gullet until one of them fit the jigsaw hole in my heart. And yet here I am, at the end of my emotional rope. My strength wasn't enough, but I am enough through Jesus. Through Jesus, I have actually found that I have the drive to get moving again, to sign up for events, actively hang out with my friends again, maybe even play some video games, edit videos, and actually enjoy the process. Processes themselves weren't really the problem, it was the purpose for which I did them. Even on days where I felt left out, where I feel sad, down, anything really, I still have Jesus. And that's pretty filling on its own. I won't pretend that I'm perfect in any capacity now. I still get lost in my mind. I still worry and become anxious, and sometimes I turn back to myself, to my own strength to try and solve things. And every single time I have to come back and lay everything down, to let go and give everything back to God. Because I can't do it by myself. I can't fulfill myself. If I was given back what I lost, I'd give it 1000%. I'd stop what I was doing and thank God constantly for what He gave me. I'd actively push towards having a relationship with God so that when sometimes I had struggled with such a thing, I could go to Him and just let go. Stop trying to stuff myself and lean on God and everything He's given me. Not to say I wouldn't do that now without that thing, but it just goes to show I still think about what I lost, how I could have done better. But I can't stay there. Even if it is never given back, it would hurt like crazy, don't get me wrong, but my fulfillment isn't in that. So even if it doesn't feel okay at the moment, it is. Christian or not, I encourage whoever you are to look deeply into what you spend a lot of your time doing, whether that be a job, a hobby, or even just a time-burning process that you do. And ask yourself, does it really fulfill you? If everything else were to pass away, would that thing you spent so much time on, that investment you poured so much of your heart, soul, and resources into, would it really mean anything in the end? I think everyone could benefit from looking within themselves and focusing on what is truly important. For me, I found that fulfillment in letting myself be empty so I might be filled with the Holy Spirit and surrendering myself to God. I think that nothing else will truly fulfill you the same way that Jesus can. I don't know what fulfillment looks like to you, and you're not forced to make any decision you don't want to. But I know that one day, when I'm about ready to go, the servers I played on, the keyboards I used, the games I played, nothing of this world will be standing beside me, ready to go with me. It'll be the people in my life that I love, and the Holy Spirit in my heart that will stay with me for eternity. And my prayer is that you'll join me in heaven one day, and that you'll feel fulfilled the same way I do with the Lord. Love you guys.